It takes much more than your personal efforts for you to enjoy the blessings that you are currently enjoying. I want to welcome you to CITAM Church Online. My name is Pastor Karita Mbagara. I'm the senior pastor at CITAM Karen. I want to say that you are enjoying certain blessings, and for some reason you may think that it is because you have worked hard. I want to illustrate this using the story that is told in the book of 2 Kings chapter 7. If you start reading from verse 3 to verse 10, you will find that there are 4 lepers who are living outside the city of Samaria, which has been besieged by the enemy. And the story from verse 3 is that they decide, we will go to the besieging army where if we are killed, we die, but if we are given food, we will live. And they march, and God performs a miracle so that by the time they get to the camp of the enemy has run away. What they find is abundance and a lot of blessings. But if you read this story in its context, its wider context, you will find that there are many other things that have happened before this. In fact, there's a prophet by the name Elisha who talks about what God is going to do for the city of Samaria that had already been besieged. But from the lepers' perspective, they have done everything that needed to be done. They have taken a very gruesome journey from the city of Samaria to go to where the invading army is. And from their perspective, they have done it, and they didn't need anybody else. But God, being who He is, seems to have communicated to these lepers. And when they get there, they decide, we cannot enjoy the blessing that we have received all by ourselves. We must go and bless others. And so we read in verse 9 of 2 Kings chapter 7, and this is what it says. From verse 9, 2 Kings chapter 7, it says, "Then they said to each other, 'What we are doing is not right. This is a day of good news, and we are keeping it to ourselves. If we wait until daylight, punishment will overtake us. Let us go at once and report this to the royal palace.'" They decide that they want to share what has become a blessing for them with other people. And I want to say that when you start realizing that God has been involved in what has been happening in your life, you want to share your blessings with others. But who are these that you want to share with? I think for the Christian, first you want to share with God, because you realize that God has been behind it all. Secondly, like these people, you want to also become a blessing to people who have been a blessing to you. As lepers, they had lived outside of the city, and they were, they were just receiving what the city dwellers were giving to them. In other words, the city dwellers were actually their benefactors. And so they want to go back to the city and report of their find that is going to help the city that is in famine. The the third category from the reading of the Bible is that we are encouraged to give to the needy. And many times the Bible talks of the needy as those who are marginalized. It talks of the orphans, it talks of the widows, it talks of the poor, and it talks of the foreigners. All of them were marginalized because in that society, and like today, it was first driven by men, but secondly, it was an economy that was driven by land. And because when you are an orphan, you may not have land, or even when you are a widow, you don't have land, you are economically deprived. So those who are marginalized, so you give to God, you give to people that have been a blessing to you. And I want to say your parents have been the first blessing in your life. And thirdly, you give to the needy. Fourthly, the Bible says that we should share with the servants of God. In the Bible, it talks of the priests. But I want to say the SOGs, the servants of God, not just men, because there are also women who are servants of God. Obviously, I don't have to tell you that you have to take care of yourself. These people had found the bounty, they had hidden a lot of it for themselves, but they remember others. And you and I are also called to do the same thing. What we find is that when we do this, there are benefits that accrue. The first one is that there is multiplied joy. If you have had somebody bless your life, you feel good. And when you also bless somebody else, you are multiplying that joy in the lives of other people. Secondly, it helps you not to be a miser. When you share with others, you also do away with greed. So that's the second benefit. The third one is that you develop a heart that is grateful, a heart full of gratitude or thanksgiving as an attitude in life. And a heart that is full of thanksgiving is likely to give you more satisfaction than a heart that is just given to self-interest and is thinking only about how I can use everything and hold everything to myself. But finally, there is also the fact that you become a channel of blessing. Instead of becoming a Dead Sea that does not distribute to anybody else, you become, an open channel of blessing to other people, like the Sea of Galilee that allows water to flow to the Dead Sea. Don't become a Dead Sea, become a blessing, because your blessing came courtesy of many other people that may not be obviously visible to you, as it did in the case of the story. And I encourage you to go and read that passage so that you actually see the background, that there were other people that were involved in the blessing that came to them. Please feel free to contact us. The contacts are below the screen, and may the Lord bless you. This is CITAM Church Online.